officially live, which means I got to put the on-air button on. I'm going to kill the music in just a sec. It'll get better. I think it's just echoey because of my voice. Hello and welcome, guys. We're going to get kicked off here in just a second. But before we do, please mute your phones. Please mute your phones. If you're not sure if your phone is muted, now is a good time to take it out and to double check that it is muted. This is a live recording. We want to make sure that everything's nice and crisp and quiet.
That'd be so embarrassing.
It was so embarrassing.
Man.
And actually, I was going to say, can you unplug that fan too? Thank you so much. We're going to get started here in a second. Some house rules. If you need to use the restroom, it's on my right. Your right as well. It's in the casita. There's a restroom in there. There's a mini bar with some fridge beers as well if you want one. What else? You are going to be on camera at some point, so if you're hiding from anybody in the world, this is not a good show to be on, just to be aware of that. If there's an emergency like a fire, run like hell and scream. I'm kidding, don't do that. Don't panic, leave the same way you came in. And last but not least, we're here for the one and only Kelsey Hudgins. Woo! Bumper is on. It's officially started. We're going to cheer like mad people, crazy lunatics in between songs. We're going to try to piss some neighbors off.
Oh,
Not really.
God.
Not really, but maybe. I'll give you a countdown here as we're jumping into the show, and we're going to be live in 3, 2, 1. We are live.
Yeah! Hell yeah!
Hell yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Local Sets ATX. We have the fantastic Kelsey Hudgins on with us and a guest host today. Please introduce yourself, Greg DePaul.
Hey, what's up? My name is Greg DePaul. I'm a local Austin comedian. You can find me on Instagram at Greg_DePaul, and you can catch me performing at the Sunset Strip most weekends. So come through there.
Hell yeah. Go check them out. But we're here for the one and only, the Kelsey Hudgins. Dude, thank you so much for doing this. This is absolutely wonderful.
Thanks for having me, man.
I'm like ducking behind me.
You're good. I know where you are.
You know where I am. How many songs did you bring for us this evening? What are you thinking? We're going to try 10, 20, 30? What are you feeling?
Oh, man, dude. We could do as many as you guys are in for it.
Hell yeah. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Let's go. We're going to start with song number 1, then we'll get into the Q&A session. What is the first track that you brought for us this evening, sir?
This first song is the first song that I wrote after I quit drinking. But I did write it under the influence of a substance, which I also have then since quit. But you know,
do you want to tell us what the substance is?
Oh, it was cocaine.
Okay, all right. Apparently, we have some fans of the white powder.
So just so you know, when you do that stuff, and especially after you've done a thing that you made your personality for a really long time, it kind of puts your brain in an interesting place. So when I quit drinking, my mentality woke up somewhere on a farm in Oklahoma, somewhere turn of the century. That's all I'm going to tell you. I'm going to let the song speak for itself, if that's all right with y'all.
Hell yeah. Over to you whenever you're ready. Kick it off.
Well, there's the bed where they both laid and ripped my world apart and flew off up to Kansas before it got too dark. And I swear that if I see them in their graves, they will both lay. But they're hiding up in Kansas where no one knows their names. Well, they stole 2 of my horses, Grandpa's saddle he left to me, and a jar of folding money buried neath that big oak tree. Well, they tracked them up around Tulsa, where they hopped a northbound train. And I swear still if I find them, I'll make them feel my pain. Come hell or high water, good Lord willing, the creek don't rise on a stack of Bibles tall as me. I swear I'll get my prize. On the banks of Old Red River, under cottonwood I pine, digging me a hole, but it ain't mine. Well, that first winter it was a cold one, but it brought an early spring. Made do with what I had left, nearly took my farm from me. Did plenty good come harvest, brought back my daddy's land. And I swear still if I find them, I'll make them understand. Come hell or high water, good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. On a stack of Bibles tall as me, I swear I'll get my prize. On the banks of Old Red River, under cottonwood I pine, digging me a hole, but it ain't mine. Well, I heard a man from Detroit making horses out of steel, making easy work of travel. Now my word can be fulfilled. So I drove on up to Kansas in the pouring fucking rain. Didn't leave there till I found them. Now they're buried with my shame. Come hell or high water, good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. On a stack of Bibles tall as me, I swear I'll get my prize. On the banks of Old Red River, under cottonwood I pine, digging me a hole, but it ain't mine. Digging me a hole, but it ain't mine. Filling up this hole, and it ain't mine. Called It Ain't Mine.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Hell yeah, man. Do a little, still a little Coulter Wall in there. Am I mistaken? That was a little influence, maybe?
Well, that song's from 2016.
Okay, so I'm mistaken.
So Coulter Wall's got a little me in him.
Okay. Sometimes people pay a lot of money for that, so there's that. What inspired that? Was it just the cocaine?
My mom left me and my dad when I was 2 years old for the guy who inevitably became my stepdad, and I don't think my dad's too kind of a man. I don't believe he got closure on that situation fully. So I took that feeling and put it into a farmer from Oklahoma in the turn of the century. And I thought, if this would have happened in a different era, how would it have turned out? And I felt like I wanted to embody that in a way, because that's what a good song is about, I think, is putting like a nugget of a feeling in there and then writing around that nugget. So that's how that came about. Was just I wanted to give my dad proper closure on this situation.
Yeah. How is your relationship with your father currently?
Incredible. Yeah, he drove me here with all of my shit.
That's awesome.
When I moved from South Carolina, yeah.
Okay, very cool. Has he heard the song?
Oh yeah, he's heard all of this stuff. He might be watching now, actually.
Hell yeah. Let's shout out to your dad. What's your dad's name?
Harold Hudgins.
Harold Hudgins.
Alpha name.
There you go. That's awesome, man. Shout out to Harold. Well, that's an amazing song, man. I think sometimes pain can elicit some beautiful things.
Absolutely, and that's all it's about, right? Changing the way you feel. That's all any art's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. What was the impetus to get into music? Was Was it the pain or the things you couldn't express any other way? Like, why music instead of, I don't know, poetry or well, I guess it's a form of poetry, but why not like engineering? Why music?
It's in my blood. My granddad was he was a house piano player for a variety show back in the day. He got to play with like Marty Robbins and Jim Nesbitt and a bunch of old country guys back in the day. And so I grew up with and my grandparents, because of the situation with my parents, splitting at such an early age in my life, I lived with my grandparents. So I grew up with all these instruments around the house. And
he taught you how to sing, right? You were telling me
pretty
that
much. He was like, he would kind of teach me what not to do. More so like he would kind of yell at what you were doing wrong rather than telling me what you did right, which a lot of people shy against, but I think that opens the door to like everything else is kosher so long as you don't do these things I tell you not to do. Everything else is fair game. So I believe in that method. But yeah, he pretty much showed me some chords. I actually have a song about him that this might be a nice segue into.
Hell yeah.
Oh, nice.
That was like my first local hit back home that I released in like 2005 or 6 or something like that. But yeah, music, it's just in my blood. And it's the one thing that I'm very lazy. So if anything takes me a lot of effort, I won't do it. And the music, it kind of just happened. One day I just picked up a guitar and it just kind of made sense.
I mean, music isn't.
Same with piano.
It's a lot of effort to do music well. I don't. It's interesting to say that you're a lazy person, but then
maybe for you.
Well, no,
yeah,
but
for me, for sure, I suck at it.
Here's the thing: is
why
like
I'm back here.
For everything else, like I really struggle with everything else. Like music is one of the few things that like I can actually do well. Like I'm absolute dog shit at almost every other aspect of my life. Like, but music works somehow.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I would love to. What's the name of the song about your grandfather?
The song about my granddad is called Almost, and
Almost.
he taught me 3 chords, which were the G, C, and D, but he taught me those chords, and then he was getting towards the end of his life, and I kind of wanted to give him something, like he was one of the greatest musicians that ever lived, and he never got any like worldly recognition for it.
And what was his name?
Gordon Hudgins, also alpha name.
Gordon Hudgins.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shout out to Gordon Hudgins, man.
Yeah,
did he hear the song before he passed?
He got to hear it before he passed.
Okay.
I played it at his funeral. I sent him home with it.
Hell yeah, man. All right.
But,
over to you for Almost whenever you're
right
ready.
on. Yeah. Well, he's a feeble old man now, not like he was in his younger days. In the National Guard, when my granny stole his heart, he used to take me for walks down the road behind our house. But he can't make it to the stop sign now, just halfway. Spent 18 years trying to keep his grandson straight, and I can't complain, 'cause when I wanted to learn how to play my guitar, he said, "Sit down, boy, it ain't that hard. Just listen to what I say and you'll do fine." And then he showed me 3 chords, and when I got that right, I'd sit on my bed and I'd play them all night. And he didn't mind. He just gave me time. Well, I almost got it. He still picks up my guitar and plays it every now and then, but he says he can't do it no more, and his fingers get sore. But he can play the piano like you wouldn't believe. After all these years, he still amazes me, just like when I was a kid. He says he can't remember how to chord it just right. Oh, but I think it sounds fine. 'Cause when he keeps the rhythm and I play lead, he'll turn around once or twice and smile at me and say, "You're getting it now, boy." And then sometimes he just sits there and sings, but even if he does, that's fine with me, 'cause he can harmonize, and that's what I like. I'm getting there. Lord, when I wanted to learn how to play my guitar, he said, "Sit down, boy, it ain't real hard. Just listen to what I say and you'll do fine." And then he showed me 3 chords, and when I got that right, I'd sit on my bed and I'd play them all night. But he didn't mind. He just gave me time. It's called Almost for Gordon Hudgins.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude. What a beautiful song, man. That's awesome. Especially the fact that he heard that before his passing. That's amazing. So he was probably, would you say, your biggest influence into music?
Easily, without a doubt. My dad was sitting on the porch one time playing the, and I was like, oh, that was. So I was like, my dad can't really play guitar, but I was like, if he can do that, like maybe I can do that. And I was like, can you show me? And he said, you need to go ask your granddaddy.
Oh, okay.
So he put me on to my granddad, and my granddad would like I said, he would just show me what not to do. But those chords, he was like, you learn those 3, I'll show you 3 more, and I never had to go back. He put me on the right path and kind of just gave me a generous shove.
Dude, that's amazing. So are you guys all from South Carolina?
Yeah, my granddad, my granddad's from Alabama. He was an Auburn fan.
We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah. But yeah, he was from
I got
Alabama.
really quiet when I said that.
Yeah, he was from Alabama. My dad and my uncle were both born in Alabama, and then they moved, when my dad and uncle were very young, they moved back to South Carolina where my grandmother's family was from. So yeah, that's where I grew up, was in South Carolina.
Okay.
Like a very rural region on a corner lot next to 3 fields, 2 cotton, 1 soy, and a railroad track. So very
rural.
Very rural.
Yeah. Okay. And then did you say you lived in Florida at one point?
Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
South Carolina. Okay,
Yeah.
That's right. All right. And then when did you start playing music officially, like going after more professionally, not just like kind of tinkering around for personal use?
Well, when I started at 13, I started a band, and I was going to a Christian school at the time, so we were doing like mostly Christian music and stuff, and we would play around at different churches. So I was like gigging out when I first started, pretty much. And then whenever we were, when I was 15, I recorded my first album with that band. And
when you were 15?
Yeah.
Do you still have the album?
Yeah, it's somewhere out there. It's somewhere out there under the name Forgiven. That was our Christian band's name.
It's very on brand.
Yeah, it's somewhere out there. But yeah, we did that, and it was all cover songs, no originals. And when I was 19, I moved to Myrtle Beach after I'd recorded my first EP that Almost was on, and I did a little coffee shop tour around the Southeast.
When you were 19?
When I was 19.
That's
yeah.
awesome. What was the reception like for that? I mean, was it just?
I mean, it was during the Edwin McCain era, so the coffee shop thing was like huge. So every coffee shop had pretty much a built-in audience, and it went pretty good. But I got to Myrtle Beach, and that was the last 2 gigs of the tour. We're in Myrtle Beach. I had some friends that lived there, and we ended up just partying, and that sort of took the driver's seat for a few years.
Got it. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah,
that'll definitely happen. Do you have any songs about Myrtle Beach?
I actually do have a song about Myrtle Beach. I have a song
about
getting hammered on Myrtle Beach.
I felt that there was a Myrtle Beach song. Do you have a about getting hammered on Myrtle Beach?
Yeah, fun fact. I wrote a buddy of mine who was actually like a substitute teacher at the Christian school, went to Myrtle Beach and spent a weekend with a guy named Charlie. And they just partied their asses off for a weekend. And he told me this story about them partying. And I was like, that sounds like a song. So I wrote a verse and a chorus of this song. And this guy was like, man, Charlie has to hear this. So he called Charlie. And Charlie, I don't know how it's like one of those things where shit just works out. But Charlie was like 20 minutes away from my house driving back to Myrtle Beach. And he just said, I'm on my way there now. And he stopped. We finished writing the song, and then the next weekend, I did a gig at Redbone Alley in Florence, and after that, I went back to their house in Myrtle Beach, and the rest is literal history.
Are you gonna play that song? Right
Yeah,
now?
let's do it.
Let's hell yeah, man.
This one's called the infamous Garden City song.
All right, over to you.
Shit. Had a cold beer for breakfast, a few more at lunch, and by 4 or 5 by supper time, and then 8 o'clock I was drunk. In the morning I won't remember any of these little girls' names, but I'll go to the fridge, grab another beer, and get drunk all over again. Well, we started off down at the Dead Dog, and we ended up at the Point. Made it back to Charlie's house and smoked another joint. Myrtle Beach ran out of beer, we went up to Cherry Grove. We all got high and lost our lighter, so we had to use the stove. We went to every party, then shut them down, and damn, that was such a pity. So we found all the girls that were still awake and brought them back to Garden City. Waking up next to a girl that I never had seen before. The hell, as drunk as I was the night before, she might be the girl next door. Look at the clock and it's 9:30, but I hear something in the den. And I thought we were all doing fine, but Charlie's at it again. So we take a shot of rum and we're being dumb, so we headed down to the pier with 2 guitar surfboards in the car and a cooler full of beer. Myrtle Beach ran out of beer, we went up to Cherry Grove. Then we all got high and lost our lighter, so we had to use the stove. Went to every party and shut them down, and damn, that was such a pity. So we found all the girls that were still awake and brought them back to Garden City. Tons of waves, not a bit of shade. Girls we don't know stop to say hello. They hang around a while and ask us where to go because the sun's going down and the beer's getting low. Then the phone rings, so I look at Joe, and we were so drunk we forgot we had this show. Show up late, real baked, and we play them our little song. We say we've been drunk for 2 damn days, and this is what went on. Myrtle Beach ran out of beer, we went up to Cherry Grove. All got high and lost our lighter, so we had to use the stove. Went to every party and shut them down, and damn, that was such a pity. So we found all the girls that were still awake and brought them back to Garden City.
Yeah! Oh, man.
Garden City Beach.
Hell yeah! Ow! I love the vibe. I love the vibe.
Garden City Beach.
There's not a fire in here. I might have gone a little long.
Yeah, we went hard.
This is what it looks like in my room most nights. I still hit gravity bongs, man.
Oh my God,
favorite song now.
Yeah,
dude,
nice,
great song, man. Absolutely,
thank you.
Song. What a fun tune, man.
What a fun switch in the vibe.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing: is like
I love how the last song we were talking about, it was all sentimental about your grandma, and this one's about drinking and fucking hoes. This one, it's got a song for everything.
Yeah.
What do we talk about next? That's what Yonder's gonna sing.
Yeah, shout out to the host. But yeah, that's what my life and brain was like when I was 19 years old.
Oh, so you wrote that when you were 19?
Yeah, I wrote the last 2 songs when I was like 18 and 19 years old. The first one I wrote in 2016, but
dude, that is wild.
Forgot about Jesus quick.
Yeah. Dude, that's incredible. You wrote that at 19. No wonder. And that guy turned around. He's just like, I'm coming back, and you finished the song that.
Yeah, we finished the song. We wrote the first verse and chorus, and then Charlie came back, and we were like, well. I was like, what do you do? He was like, I don't know, man. I surf a lot. I did. And I was like, all right, well, let's put that in there. You know, we were just, it was just a fun little woodshed around my pool table.
That's like a type of song that would go in like, I say this for a couple songs that have been on the show, but it's like, that's a great montage song. Like in a film with people that are just doing things they're just going, things are starting to go sideways.
Well, it's like I saw it in my head while he was playing.
Yeah, dude, 100%. 100%, man.
Well, that's the trick. That's what it's all about, is being able to paint the picture. Because and I'm not trying to knock on any modern music or anything, but they're not painting any pictures, you know? I want if you hear one of my songs to be able to I see it, I can feel the dirt.
I love it, man. Absolutely love it. That was a great song. Do you have any other party songs? Now that we're in the genre, but I mean,
not necessarily.
We're going back to the sad stuff. I got it. Okay.
Well, no, that's the thing. Well, most of my songs are pretty serious. Like it's like they don't. I only didn't take myself seriously for while I was partying and drinking heavily and stuff like that. There was a band that I joined around 2009 called Cornbread, and we were. It was just me, another acoustic player, and a djembe guy. And we drank very heavily for a while. And, I mean, we had some singles, but none of it was about the party.
Was it spelled cornbread with a K?
No.
Oh.
I wish.
I was so hoping I nailed that. All right,
I wish. It was spelt normal. And fun fact, we haven't played in like a couple of years now. And we're all still homies. But we still get tagged. Our Facebook group still gets tagged on like every restaurant that adds cornbread to their menu anywhere. Like they still tag our band.
It's good marketing.
Yeah, it worked. Well, we were fat, so it had to be food related.
What was the album all food related?
Well, no, our first band name
Very
was
serious.
We tried Biscuits and Gravy for a while. We tried Smothered and Covered for a while.
I
wanted to call it Mediocre. That was my band name because I wanted to make it silly, but
Mediocre is that's a great name.
I think it's hilarious.
Smothered and Covered, that's a great name for an album.
Yeah, well, it should have been. I don't even know what we called our album. I don't even know if we had one.
That could be the name of your next special for
Smothered and Covered.
Smothered and Covered. There you go. You do comedy as well. You're a stand-up comedian. You're a very talented one.
I dabble.
That's how you guys met, correct?
Yep, that's how we know each other.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Telling jokes, hanging out.
Telling jokes, hanging out front, trying to get people to come to a comedy show, barking at them on 6th Street.
That's how the game works.
Don't say no.
What did you guys? You met 3 years ago when you moved, the same time, or
I think we got to know each other more like a year and a half ago, and we started working at Sunset together.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't know who each other were, but that was when we started hang out.
Got it. Okay.
Get to know each other.
And then, are you also a person that is sober?
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
Okay. I was gonna say I have a beer here next.
He's my surrogate drinker.
So, when did your sobriety officially kick in? Can we talk about that, or is that too?
Yeah, it started on Leap Day, 2016. So February 29th, 2016.
Okay.
That was the day I had the worst night of my life on the 28th, and I just embarrassed myself. I'm a big guy. And I was the kind of drunk that would pound like a bottle of Rumple Mints.
Oh shit!
And slap people.
That's not a good drunk.
I mean, it was either the best time you've ever had or the worst time you've ever had. There was rarely any gray area. But yeah, it was just, it needed to stop. And I had already quit before I realized I was quitting. So, I was just I'm just going to take a day off. I need to, and then that day turned into a week. And then I was like, well, if I can if I can not do this for a week, then
It'll be a little longer.
Yeah, well, let's just keep going.
Do you have you ever thought about where that? I mean, was it when you were slapping people? Was that a place of anger that was coming from?
Absolutely.
Have you ever gone into a meditative state to try to figure out where that anger came from?
Yeah, 100%. I actually do I had a solo podcast that had like 0 following for a really long time, so a lot of it was just me talking to a camera with no chat to react to or bounce anything off of. So that became my therapy, because I've never really liked traditional medicine, if you will. I don't like going. I don't want to go to a therapist.
Gotcha.
So I just started talking to this camera and talking to all of the people eventually that would hear it and work. And in doing that, I was working out things in my mind that I really needed to. And I had a lot of pent up anger from the situation with my mother. And just, I don't want to go into it here because it's a total buzzkill. But a lot of it comes from that, like old family stuff and just not feeling like I'm good enough. And that's also, I think, where a lot of the alcohol was suppressing it. So when I quit drinking, all these boxes that I'd forgotten about ended up coming back to light. And I was like, okay, well, I need to really unpack all of this shit so that it doesn't get ugly.
Got it. Yeah, it's difficult to deal with emotional struggle head on. I know a lot of people do, especially as like a guy. It's like you're not supposed to feel anything. You just swallow it and move forward, and that becomes a really destructive thing, because either you deal with your emotions or your emotions will deal with you.
Exactly.
And it gets to a place like that. I spent a year of my life just hammered drunk, like every night, just blacked out, because I couldn't fucking deal with what I was going through any other way. I was in the Marines, some shit ever happened overseas. So when I got back, that's how I dealt with it.
Hoorah.
It was very unfortunate, but it's like, just never was given the ability to learn anything else.
Right.
And so you just went to a place to shut it down. And that was like sometimes the only time I could sleep was that, which was really unfortunate. I couldn't sleep most nights. I wouldn't sleep more than like an hour and a half. I was like delirious all the time. It sucked. So then I just turned to drinking. It was like a downward spiral.
That does it, man.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't until I tried to kick drinking altogether, and then a lot of self-reflective, like, why am I so angry? Why am I dealing with this?
Yeah.
I was actually, not to bring this completely down, but I was in the shower, and I was just by myself and just started just sobbing, just like uncontrollably. I couldn't stop. And it was like all the stuff that I was trying to not deal with just came out. And I was like, oh my God, I'm out of my mind. Like I need to do this. I need to like work on myself and not just like walk past stuff and actually deal with it. And it got me to a much better place. And then I wasn't drinking because I was trying to shut myself off. I was drinking because it's like, oh, this is fun. We're at a party, and very different very different experience. Are you completely sober from all things, or are you?
I still smoke pot.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't do anything else. I did the powder for about a year after I quit drinking. And actually, I didn't really start it until I stopped drinking, really. Because I just needed a vice. I needed something to replace and what do they call that? Transference?
Yeah. Have you heard of Zyn? This is a good...
Yeah.
Not a sponsor of the show, but we are looking, Zyn. But yeah, I get it. You went to something.
Yeah, I actually... And I had completely stopped caffeine as well until I moved to Austin. But when I got here, new place, I lived in South Carolina for 34 years. So getting out of a comfort zone of my home state, I was worried that I would, it's been long enough. I can have a drink now. Mm-hmm. So I kind of just slipped back in with like a Red Bull now and again. And so I was like feeding my brain the caffeine to kind of fool it into thinking we're doing something we shouldn't be doing.
Got it. Okay. Which brings us to the next song, Caffeine.
Yeah.
Is that do you have that?
Yeah,
I was hoping I was going to nail that twice. That's amazing. Do you have a song about caffeine?
I do not.
That would be something. That would have been something. Well, let's get to another song here. I don't want to, I don't want to cut you off, but I don't want to just.
No nonsense, man. Yeah. I'm a talker, so you kind of have to cut me off.
Do you have anything to add to the music vibe that we?
No, I haven't had like a serious addiction or anything like that. Oh, to the music vibe.
Or the addiction vibe, whatever you can.
Yeah, I haven't had much to say the last like 10 minutes.
I'm also a talker, so just please.
It's like I've done a pretty fun amount of drugs.
What?
I haven't ruined anything.
You're still young. Give it time.
Give it time. Give it time.
I can still ruin it.
Well, learn from other people's mistakes. Don't you know we have to make them. Which brings us to the next song. Learn from your mistakes.
Learn from your mistakes.
Do you have a song about that?
I'm trying so hard to will this into being. What is the next song you have for us?
So this next song is actually the sequel to the first song.
Okay.
So the first song, It Ain't Mine, to catch you up on that story, guy comes home, finds his wife with another man, decides he's been disrespected to the point that he wants to remove these two people from the earth. And he finds them after some time of struggle. And then fast forward to the father of the son who was cheating, who is now missing and in the ground next to Red River under the cottonwoods. So now the father is looking for his son. And that's where we pick up. Hotter than I remember and drier than every year before. I've buried what I hope don't grow and the whole damn world's at war. They're liable to come and knock in any day now, they're due. Said a man come round was asking some things that might lead back to you. Said I'll be damned if I'll go easy. Ain't no man gonna take my pride. Just as soon dig one more hole, lay him down there by your side. Give him one good reason to not go messing in my ground. Best mind his own damn business as he suspects I don't fuck around. Now lay me down, my wretched soul, one day I'll walk your streets of gold. Forgive me, Lord, for all my sins, hope pearly gates will let me in. Said a man showed up last Tuesday in a brand new Model T. Said his boy went missing, was wondering if he'd been seen. The picture looked familiar to many folks here in this town. He was always with that farm girl, see him and her, they were running round. Now lay me down, my wretched soul, one day I'll walk your streets of gold. Forgive me, Lord, for all my sins, hope pearly gates will let me in. Waiting in the trees there off the side. Saw him holding something it wouldn't have mattered if he tried. I laid him down real easy, bleeding there right by the side of the boy that he was after. So those who seek show how they find. Now lay me down, my wretched soul, one day I'll walk your streets of gold. Forgive me, Lord, for all my sins, hope pearly gates will take me in. Soul, one day I'll walk your streets of gold. Forgive me, Lord, for all my sins, hope pearly gates will take me in. That song's called The Ballad of the Unlucky Man.
Hell yeah.
Nothing wrong with a nice murder ballad.
Dude, what another dope song, man. Another dope song.
Another song that a lot of people have said the same Coulter Wall thing about. But these songs happened several years before I knew who that was.
Well, it's I would say somewhat similar in tone as far as like how it's like some of the music he writes is kind of dark. So, or not some of it's really, really dark. But it's great music regardless, and you've got kind of a deep voice. As well, and so I thought maybe there was some influence there. There isn't. That's totally fine. But it's dope music, dude. I love it. It's great.
Hell yeah,
It's really good, man. It's really another song that would easily be in like a score for a film.
Well,
especially while something ominous is happening.
That song is actually going to be in a film.
Shut your face.
That song is they're filming a documentary on the Austin comedy scene called Nighthawks right now, and that song is going to be part of like the darkness when they're like, I hope, is this thing sustainable? Is this comedy scene going to happen? So like the darkness in the movie, that's going to be in the background of, like, we filmed like the me playing it and everything. It's pretty neat. I'm pretty excited about it because I've always been obsessed with that sort of thing. And yeah,
is that something you would want to do more of? Is like score stuff for film?
Oh yeah, I love that. I love the thought of having like a blank canvas to set something to. That's
obviously other people saw that too.
It's like I've seen that in all the songs you've played so far too. It's like they all put a picture in your head immediately.
Right. So that's the thing, is like if it works that way for things that I write, then I could just simply look at a picture and just translate to what I think that should sound like. And I like that thought.
Was there any inspiration for that? The genesis of that was just a follow-up to the first song? Is it just like, hey, this needs some closure to it? Because it's dynamically very different.
Like there's like some of my favorite songwriters write in character, and though the first song was a very like personal to me situation with like my parents and splitting up and no closure on that part from my end. After that, I realized that the protagonist or antagonist, depending on how you look at the story, is the main character in this thing. And I thought there's more going on in this dude's life. He needs more story. So I wanted to continue his storyline. And then it just ended up like becoming a thing that I would write about, that he is now possessed in some way by something carnal and something evil, and that maybe he has a demon on his back or something like that that spawned in this situation of anger that he found with his own marriage and life. So now it's pretty much just telling stories from his perspective.
Now, are those things that you're like, hey, this is an interesting idea, or are these emotions you're pulling from things that you've witnessed or people, like things that you're afraid of going through, or is it just like an ethereal thing, like I'm just pulling this out of nowhere?
A little bit of both. I feel like if you are in tune to that thing, that like music is the magic that we can wield, like on this earth, that is real and is somewhat magical. But I feel like if you can just be in tune to whatever that thing is, like songs are just floating around all the time. You just have to be the one to grab it. I have a theory that I want to get out of the way of the song. And I want it to do its own thing and be its own creation without my influence. So I just kind of get the feeling, and I'll just put the words down and I'll read them out. And as it all starts as poetry, it all starts as just words. And then the music comes after. So it's all about a feeling, and I just want that to kind of be as preserved as it is without my influence.
So you actually write from a place of lyrics first, then music?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Always.
That's remarkable, because most of the people I've asked this question to always have a tune, and then what they call, as I'm punching my microphone,
they put lyrics to the music.
Yeah, it's like mumble lyrics or mumble words, where they just kind of like, they kind of
like hum a melody.
Right.
Yeah, they hum something out, and they're like, oh, these are the lyrics, and you do it the exact opposite.
Right. Well, the words are the most important part, because if the hardest beat that dropped in the 1800s would not slap today. So, yet we can still read Shakespeare and get something out of that, because words are the most powerful thing that we have. Like, those will last. So if the words are sound, then that's something that is going to withstand the test of time.
That's beautiful.
So I don't think that, and that's what I want this thing. I might really all of it is just all it is my attempt to achieve immortality, and like because that's the way to do that. I think is like you can never die if you leave something like that with your name tied to it. Then you live forever.
All right, that's deep. Holy shit.
You know.
All right, so you're immortal because this is a show that you're on, and this is in the world now.
1,000%.
So
I was born in 720 A.D. Seen kingdoms rise and fall.
Oh man.
When does the documentary come out?
Oh, when does the documentary come out? Bring it in for a little.
It's a Nighthawks film on Instagram. I'm not 100% sure. It should be somewhere around. They were talking about Christmas time, but we did just film the other day. Does that sound about right, Joe? They did just film the other day at sunset, and they're just putting the finishing touches on it as far as I know. But I think they've filmed about all that they're going to, I think.
You gotta keep us posted because I'll absolutely
1,000%.
I'll jump that out into the posts of the social world.
Hell yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
That's dope, man. Congratulations on that. That's freaking
Thank
cool. Song number 5 for the evening.
Ooh, let's see. I made a big list. I don't want to try to.
I can vamp for a little bit. We can go to the audience, find out some about them.
Yeah,
If
sure.
you
why
want to do
not?
that? Yeah, let's do that. You want to? If you were a musical instrument, we're gonna start with you, Greg.
All right.
If you were any musical instrument, what musical instrument would you be? Don't fuck this up.
Probably drums.
Hell yeah, that's a great answer.
Yeah, you're drunk,
You seem
for
you
sure.
seem like a drum guy for
Yeah.
sure. Dave behind me. Dave.
Be a saxophone.
Saxophone.
Oh yeah.
The saxophone, you mean?
Saxophone.
John.
I'm sticking with fiddle.
Fiddle.
Yeah.
Fiddle's a pretty good answer. You can't keep those toes still. No.
Want to call something original? Harmonica.
Harmonica.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Harmonica. We haven't had that answer yet. That's the first. What about yourself, Jared?
Man, I've been waiting for somebody to ask me this bongos. I like the bag.
Bongos. That's a stoner answer if I've ever heard one. That's wonderful. Emily, what about you? Cello. Oh, beautiful, classy. Joe. Clarinet.
Yeah.
Some Jethro
All right.
Tull. I dig it. Or was that the flute?
You got the image there, right?
Yeah. Zing. All right. What about yourself, Scott? Ukulele. Ooh.
Hell
Tiny,
yeah.
tiny but
Island
mighty.
boy.
Island boy. Tiny but mighty. What about yourself, Yonder? What would you?
If I could be a musical instrument,
Not the one that you can play. You can't say guitar or piano.
well, that's narrowing it down a lot.
Actually, that's not. It's literally everything else but those two. That
Well, there's a lot that I can play.
Oh,
is
you-
what I
oh,
mean.
got you, sorry.
If
Wait, what instruments can you play besides the guitar and piano?
I mean, drums, bass, mandolin, banjo,
Holy shit.
whatever's missing. You know that line in The Departed where he says, John Lennon, I'm an artist. You give me a tuba, I'll give you something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't play wind instruments, but pretty much anything with strings or sticks, like
Or keys.
or keys.
I wish I would've
technically
known
those are still stringed.
Technically, I have a piano in there. I would have put it out here just to like put you on the spot if I would have known you could play.
Oh, dude! I mean, a lot of some of these songs that not these songs, but a lot of my songs were written on piano. Like that was my normal writing spot was just at the piano.
Damn.
But yeah, well, next time.
Limiting him.
I know. I feel like this is gonna be the after show is gonna be in the casita with you on the piano.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, song number 5. What is it?
So song number 5, we're gonna fast forward a little bit into just like when I finally get to Austin and I'm like kind of having a little bit of not homesickness, but just I've officially decided I'm going to move and I need closure emotional closure on the fact that I'm leaving home
Okay.
for 34 years. So this one's called Come Down Off Your Saddles. So this is what it's like to feel inspired, like something I've been working for is nigh. chapter, reading on to find what's after. Finally wanting to live more than die. I stood in one place longer than I'd like to. Yeah, I reckon it's come time to travel on. If just to test the waters, to hush in my mind the evil mutters. For once to try to hear the words of my songs. If home is just a place that you remember, then in your mind it's not allowed to change. But nothing ever stays the same, and then you'll hunt something to blame. And there's no prize in placing fault on time. But I guess it is just something like a feeling. And when the axis shifts, it's time to travel on. So if it's comfort that you're seeking, then brother, let me be your beacon. 'Cause in my heart, you're always part of home. I figured it would happen sooner or later. And sometimes I think it's otherwise. Never feel the pain, and then I have nothing but blame. Then I never know where I'm in line. But home is just a place that you remember. So in your mind it's not allowed to change. So nothing ever stays the same, and you'll always hunt something to blame. There's no prize in placing fault on time. But I guess it is just something like a feeling. And when the axis shifts, it's time to travel on. So if it's comfort that you're seeking, then sister, let me be your beacon. 'Cause in my heart, you're always part of home. There's a valley you can find out past the tree line. And this time of year it grows in vibrant greens. Oaks strong and tall stand guard out on the edges of the yard. And the smell of rain dances on the breeze. There's room here for any who might wander into this place that we've kept for so long. So if you're weary from your travels, then come down off your saddles. Yes, it's safe to say now, welcome home. And if home is just a place that you remember, then it's not allowed to change like I've let mine. 'Cause nothing ever stays the same, and then you'll hunt something to blame. And there's no prize in placing fault on time. But I guess that it's just something like a feeling. And when the axis shifts, it's time to travel on. So if it's comfort that you're seeking, then darling, let me be your beacon. 'Cause in my heart, you're always part of home. Let's come down off your saddles.
Dude, that was incredible. Incredible. Wow. Phenomenal song. Holy shit. Dude, that was a phenomenal song.
Thank you.
Absolutely
Thank you so
phenomenal song. That was like almost like a little Eagles-esque in there. That was a beautiful song, dude.
Thank you.
Holy
Thank you.
shit. That was really, really well done.
It's another one I could see in a movie.
Yeah, 100%. Like legit. That's yet another. You are very talented. Great point you made earlier. It's like you are very good at writing, like almost like writing for picture. It's
Thank you.
really something, man.
It's like one of the greatest compliments I've ever gotten.
You're gonna make this girl blush.
No, but I'm serious.
I
man,
am
'cause
too. I am too. That's you do an incredible job, dude. It's incredible. It really is.
It's like I said, man. If the words aren't sound, then it's just like congratulations on your beat. You know, like
yeah,
the words are important. And I kind of fucked up in the second verse, and I had to ad lib a little bit, but.
Did anybody else catch that? I didn't catch
Nope,
that.
I missed that.
Didn't catch that. You know, right?
Nope, didn't catch that.
No one.
Shouldn't have even said it.
Shouldn't have even said it. Shouldn't have even said it.
What was that line that you said you wanted to live more than die? Was that
Am
I hearing that correct? Or?
If finally wanting to live more than die, I forget how does it. I'm not doing it in order. It's figured it would happen sooner or later. To hush in my mind the evil mutters. For once, I'll try to really hear my song. No. My brain is so weird, y'all. Like if it doesn't start in the thing and it's like playing a song in my head.
You have to go through the whole thing.
It's like left brain, right brain, I think.
But yeah, it's.
That was a beautiful line.
Thank you.
That really just caught my attention right there.
Well, I mean, you know, you've been. If anybody who's ever experienced any kind of prolonged sadness, which if you are any sort of creative at all, it's bound to happen.
Or human.
Or human, exactly. It's bound to happen. So, yeah, like, I mean, you struggle for a really long time and you have no sense of what you're doing here and you're kind of grasping at whatever, like, do I like this thing? Do I like this? I'm just going to try to, you know, figure anything. And then one day I just, you find Kill Tony and then all of a sudden you say, well, these guys are bombing for a minute. Maybe I can start doing something different now. Maybe that can be my thing. And then you find something where it's like, okay, now I have something to live for. Now I finally want to live more than die, which unfortunately was not the case for a long time in my life. So
is that is just a set of circumstances from, like, you talk about divorce and addiction and whatnot, and you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore, or is it something deeper than that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I had some pretty intense brain injuries when I was a kid, and like I was in a coma for several days. I don't know if you know anything about like huge head trauma, but it's
bad.
It's not great for depression or CTE and such. Like, so it's not. It puts you in a bad place. So I'm going to blame the head trauma on a lot of that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a lot. I mean, that coupled with all of the, you know, the mom leaving you at a young age, that doesn't really set you up for success in life, I don't think. But it really does give you a nice perspective on, I don't want to call it. It gives you a nice perspective on understanding that people all go through things that they can't help.
Yep.
And then they end up becoming greatly affected by it. So it kind of gives you a little bit more compassion for other people as well as yourself, which a lot of people who, when they're trying to fix their own mental problems, they kind of naturally shun themselves to the back when they're having compassion for other people but not themselves. And I really didn't want that. So I think that just realizing that gives you a little bit more compassion for your own situation. And then in that song, well, I guess now that I'm doing something new with my life, it's giving me a little bit more purpose. So I can comfortably say that I'm happier being alive than the alternative, which wasn't the case for a long time.
Wow, man. Well, thank you for sharing. It's very, very heavy, but thank you for sharing that. I know
Heavy as fuck.
Yeah, it's it's a thing. It's like when you start negativity, you start going down that path. It kind of continues on. Negativity begets
The
negativity.
snowball.
Yeah, and it's very easy to get trapped there.
Right.
And it's this is one of the things about like practicing gratitude and grace and looking at the things that you do have instead of focusing on things that you don't.
Absolutely.
Because it can really put you in a dark place. And this is
For
also
sure.
one of the reasons that I talked about earlier is that when people are in a bad place, it's very common to be like, no one else is dealing with this. You have the weight of the world on your shoulders. You're like, I'm the only person that's ever dealt with this.
Right.
And you get in this very negative cycle. And so by talking about terrible things openly on platforms like this, part of doing it is like, yeah, if you're going through some hard shit, like I promise you, you're not alone. You're not the only
Right.
person that's dealt with it, even though it might feel like that. So everybody's worthy of love.
Absolutely.
Everybody.
That's why I'm very vocal about this too.
Yeah.
Because I know there's people out there that feel the same way, and it's just nice. Like, I mean, a lot of like I was talking about songwriters that I love, and I mean, my be all end all is Tom Waits, but a lot of artists, it's nice when you listen to those things that people might say, oh, this is abrasive. This is weird, or Elliott Smith, or this is so sad. I don't want to, but it's nice knowing that someone else has been there. And that's why I'm very vocal about how I've felt in most of my life, because somebody else is feeling it right now. And maybe
100%.
them hearing me say whatever it is that I say, they may see some light at the end of the tunnel they're currently in.
Absolutely, man.
You know?
Absolutely. Which brings us to the song number 6, Light at the End of the Tunnel.
Light at the end of the tunnel.
Did I get it?
Actually,
Did I get it? No?
you said that was heavy.
So close. I thought it was
You said that was heavy. I actually do have a song called Heavy.
Hell yeah.
That is one of the most recent songs that I've written. And it was like, I've been doing music for so long professionally, and then I wanted to make the transition to comedy, but it's literally like you're having to relearn a scene again. And I equated that to you guys know about the albatross, how it doesn't land, it just stays in the air for like months at a time.
Is that legit?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
What is this?
Did you guys
The
know
albatross.
This? Did anyone know that? Is that real? Holy shit.
Yeah, so I kind of equated it to that, or any kind of bird that is like, it spends most of its life in the air, so it's not great at landing. And
I see where you're going.
I wanted to make it. I'm just gonna play this song. I'm sorry, I try to go too far in depth in explaining these things because they mean so much to me. But
Over
anyway,
to you for Heavy whenever you're ready.
I'm feeling heavy. I'm feeling gone. I'm feeling I've worn out my welcome in my home. I'm growing aimless. I'm growing short. I want to be adored so bad that I've turned all that lust to hurt. But when I come down, it's been so long. I'd forgotten there ever was a ground. And to keep on flying won't last forever. Oh, but I'm out here learning how to land. And I'm worried that I can't. You stand before me. You stand beside. I stand corrected, there is something after all to ease my mind. You hold it steady, you hold the string. You keep me tethered to the ground as to preserve my fragile wings. When I come down, it's been so long. I'd forgotten there ever was a ground. And to keep on flying won't last forever. Oh, but I'm out here learning how to land. And I'm worried that I can't. And I've been outlasted. I've been revealed. I've been the bell cow long enough, and now it's time to plow the field. I'm getting shaky, I'm growing pale, but I'm getting better now. It's smoothing out the lonesome in my wail. When I come down, it's been so long. I'd forgotten there ever was a ground. And to keep on flying won't last forever. Oh, but I'm out here learning how to land. And I'm worried that I can't. Yeah, I'm worried that I can't. It's called Heavy.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Joe
embodiment of what we're in, the embodiment of what this thing is supposed to be about.
Would you repeat what Joe just said in the mic?
He said that I wrote that song about him and I don't know it.
Dude, what a beautiful tune, man. Another
Thank you.
banger, man.
Thank
You're
you.
such a great lyricist. Holy
Thank
shit.
you so much,
dude.
man.
Legit.
I'm hard.
That is like maybe too on the nose, but like a Pixar film of
Yeah.
what, like the birds actually trying to figure it out.
Well, this one was cool because this metaphor could just apply to so many different,
things.
like just about learning how to trust or having faith in general. Just
Right.
so it relates to probably so many. I mean, I don't know about you guys. It related to me for other things in my life.
What do you guys think that relates to you? Oh, we got a question. We had a question from Jared from Polar ATX.
So, you mentioned earlier a lot about culture wall. I hate to tell like musicians, especially local musicians, like you sound like this person or you look like this celebrity or whatever. But like I hear a lot of Jamie Johnson, like he's a hell of a storyteller.
Yeah.
Like I get like hints and remnants of that, but just as a songwriter myself and a poet, how much music do you have written, like unreleased in the archives? I'm just curious to ask you that, not to get too off track.
Some of it never becomes a song. Like I said, it always starts with lyrics for me. Some of it is just, okay, I needed to get that out, and it just lives in my notes app, and that. But there's a lot. I've probably only released maybe 40% of what I've written. But there's some things that are just like, this is too heavy. I'm going to keep this for just me. And now I know that it's out. It lives in the ether. It's on the page, so to speak. So I have a lot of that. Like a lot of just like maybe a block, just a verse, or maybe just a chorus. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll go back one day. But yeah, it's a lot.
How many songs do you have that are, you would say, maybe just for yourself, maybe too heavy to release? Is it?
I mean, I don't know, 30, 40.
Holy smokes.
Or I mean, I'm just guessing because there's no telling. Because I've been doing this since I was like I said, 15, 16.
Yeah.
But I've got some stuff that I've written recently, but I haven't learned the lyrics to them yet. And I'm very adamant on getting the words right, which is why I was so pissed that I missed the fucking second verse of that one song. Kind of like it's just
nobody knew.
I knew, and it's like it's. But yeah, I want to get the words right. So there's a lot of things that I have written since Heavy, but Heavy's probably the most recent tune that I've got that I know the words to.
It's a beautiful song, man. It really
Thank
was.
you.
It was
Thank
a
you
really
so
beautiful
much.
song. What are you thinking about? Two more songs. We can
Yeah, a
wrap out
couple
here
more.
then.
Hell yeah.
Let's do that. Let's do two more songs, which brings us to. Actually, I do want to ask you before, and maybe we do this next song, and then I'll ask you. But you had a post on social media recently about feeling lost, and I wanted to chat with you about that because I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with, myself included, about what you're doing, and maybe this isn't the thing you're supposed to be doing. And I think it could be an awesome message to a lot of people. So I wanted to come back to that before the show's out. But song number 7 for the night, Show's Out.
Yeah,
Did I get it? No. One of these days. I do this for you. I love you, John Shanky. All right, song number 7. What's it called? What's the title?
This one's called End Up Over Yonder. And my name is obviously Kelsey Hudgins, but everybody here, Red Band started calling me Yonder, so everybody started calling me Yonder. And I love that word, but when I decided I was going to move to Austin, I was on the beach in Garden City Beach, South Carolina, where I lived. And I had the thought, what if I didn't live here anymore? What if I left this place? And then that's where this spawned. Figured I could wander, just might end up over yonder. Till now I've been just fine with standing here. For much I've tried explaining, not for nothing I've tried changing. But I reckon I'm not one for shifting gears. The loneliness I live through till there's nothing more I can do. And tonight I'm out here wasting all my breath. For a life of ease I squandered, left to seek out what I pondered in a poor misguided head forsaking death. Anything not here's a mystery. Now I'm wondering who'd miss me if I loaded up my horse and headed west. These roots I put down weakened, now I'm picking up a beacon, and my rugged heart is bleeding through my chest. Well, the last thing I expected was to end up disconnected. After all, this is the place where I was forged. Strong as hell, pulled from the surface, hotter than the fires that birthed us. All the ones who know that pain comes with a reward. I could wander, just might end up over yonder. Till now I've been just fine with standing here. Over yonder.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hell
Thank
yeah. Great song, great fog machine. It's a little strong tonight. You feel like it's like we're having an actual fire in here. What a beautiful song, man. What a beautiful song.
Thank you.
And again, another great lyrics, like just spot on, man. Like
that was one that lived for a long time. Like I was saying, it was just like, man, that one's just kind of for me. Because it was only 2 blocks. It's only 2 verses. There's no chorus. So I wanted I was like, well, if there's no chorus, then maybe the guitar can sing the chorus.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, man.
And fun fact, in Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, it goes like this: the 4th, the 5th, the minor fall. The most beautiful organization of chords, in my opinion, is the 4th, the 5th, the minor fall. It has an emotion to it that you can feel before any words are introduced. So I stole that little chunk, and I was like, I'm just going to have that. I'm going to take that part.
Just a small borrowing.
Yeah.
Just a small borrow. It's a beautiful song, man. It really is. This is your music's the shit. You wanted to transition into comedy away from music?
Yeah, well, I mean, because I was sad, and I thought, well, if I'm sad doing the thing that I love the most, what if I try something different and see if that works? But yeah, I wanted to, but that's where the identity crisis comes in. It's because it's like I've been in this beautiful marriage for 20, however many years now. And then I'm like, okay, now I have this side chick that I'm really attracted to that I'm sort of neglecting my marriage for.
I almost spit on my drink.
If that makes, I mean, it's the best way to, that's how it feels.
So I'm sorry. I literally almost spit my drink out. I did not see where that was going. That caught me completely off guard. So are you saying you were feeling lost because you were finding love somewhere else besides music?
Yeah, I was feeling a little lost because I wasn't getting the rejuvenation emotionally or spiritually or whatever you want to call that thing. I wasn't getting that from music anymore because it became a job. I'm just in a cover band in a tourist town. It's easy to lose that.
Is that because you're playing other people's music and you're not pursuing the thing that you're doing here?
Kind of. And when I moved here, I intended to just do original music. I intended to like make that my thing in Austin. Like I did covers in Myrtle Beach. But I still do covers because I do a lot of comedy shows. I open up a lot of comedy shows. So it's my job to hype up the crowd. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. My music doesn't exactly, my original music isn't exactly hype. You know, it's more introspective and it really makes you think and it might make you tear up a bit. Yeah. And that's not exactly good for a comedy audience.
Got it.
So I kind of find myself having to do the cover thing more often than not.
Are you going to start performing more of your original stuff on a regular basis, or are you going to default to the cover because of the comedy side?
Well, if I'm doing a comedy show opening,
I'm
definitely going to do the cover thing because I'm very good at requests. That's what I did for 15 years in Myrtle Beach. So I never made a set list in like 15 years. I would just show up and ask the crowd what they wanted to hear, and I know enough songs to where I can get something close to what the requests were. So that was sort of my thing. That's my sharpest axe.
Party in the USA.
Yeah.
What was that?
Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus. Just curious if you could do it.
Someone said "Party in the USA" by Miley Cyrus, and that would be a wrong answer.
Hands up, playing my song, and the butterflies fly away. 10%.
Are we doing a shout out request? Are we doing it?
Yeah.
Do you have an original hype song, or could you write an original hype song?
The party song was pretty hype.
I could.
Hype, right?
The infamous Garden City song was pretty dope.
Yeah, that was pretty hype.
Yeah, that was pretty dope.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could write in that style, but I'm very honest in my lyrics and in my songwriting, kind of. So like I want to stay true to that as much as I can. I don't want to anger this thing that I'm allowed to wield, if that makes any sense. Because I think that it's been very kind to me in its allowance, and I don't want to anger that beast, if that makes any sense. I know I'm a crazy person, but I think most songwriters are pretty fucking crazy.
I don't think that's crazy. You have like a relationship with the muse, and you don't necessarily want to disturb that by trying to take your talents and write some commercial poppy something that just to sell a record. Or did I synthesize that? Or
absolutely, because I've been releasing and recording and releasing music professionally since 2006, and people rarely know of me. Like they know Yonder is much more famous than Kelsey Hudgins, and Kelsey Hudgins has so much more meat as far as his content goes than Yonder does.
Well, is Kelsey Hudgins, is that something you want to pursue more of doing
1,000%. I would like to get to the point to where I could have an audience of earnest listeners that are into the kind of thing that I do. But I also don't want to get in the way of me trying to also be silly on stage when I do stand-up, because
Sure.
I'm actually kind of somewhat hitting a stride now a little bit with the comedy, for as much as someone who's been doing it as little time as I've been doing it.
As someone who's seen both, the vibes are different.
It's a different vibe.
It's totally different.
1,000%, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the stand-up vibe, you kind of have
It's very goofy.
push limits, and
Yeah.
this is I can imagine it's very different.
Yeah.
I saw you open at Sunset for
the Secret Show.
Secret Show, and it was great. You did a mashup of Third Eye Blind and it was
I
great.
love to bring
I
it in.
I don't want to give it away, but it was hilarious, and I was like, this is really good.
I love the wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend, and then into
jump.
If you do not want to see me again, and everybody's waiting for the I would understand. But then I if you do not want to see me again, go ahead and jump. And then it's just Van Halen. Which is kind of funny because it's kind of silly because like someone who's actually, as we've talked about, struggled with mental illness and such, that me doing that is sort of a marker in my own life to where I'm like comfortable enough to make a joke of something that, and not to make light of anyone else who might literally think those things.
Of course.
That one's mostly for me. Like, okay, I'm fine enough now to where I can make light of this thing.
Well, sometimes that's the only way to get. It's the only thing that keeps you somewhat sane is to like laugh at the thing that is happening, because otherwise you might actually legitimately make yourself crazy.
Yeah.
That's helped me a ton in my life. So not to try to make light of anybody's mental illness, but yeah, sometimes you just have to. It's the only way to get through it is to try to make light of a terrible situation.
Yeah, the snake in the room is a lot less scary when you got a light on it.
Yeah, 100%, 100%, man. Comedy's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing.
I think so.
It can make a lot of bad things great. How much do you love comedy? You do it.
Oh, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be weird if I hated it.
I was a trivia. You're like, I also am struggling. I don't like comedy, but I do it all the time. I don't know what to do with myself.
I don't even have a main art. I just do comedy badly.
That's not true. Me and Greg the reason I chose Greg to do this thing is me and Greg, he doesn't even know this, I don't think. We have a kinship as like, we don't really, a lot of comics are out there every single night trying to, I got to do 2-3 spots. I got to go up. I got to get up and stuff like that. I don't do that. I've never been one to do that. And Greg doesn't do that either.
Yeah, we're both pretty lazy.
We're both pretty lazy. But the thing is that
I like that about you, Yonder.
I like that about you, Greg. But no, the thing is that when we both get on stage, when it's time to be funny, we both are usually semi-successful at that. And I always appreciated that, like being stage ready without having to conform to the same methods that every other comic in the city is doing, and I always appreciated that.
I'm about to go up tonight. I don't think I've been up in like 4 days.
Yeah, I went up last night. I hadn't gone up in a while, and it went all right, you know.
There you go. You just got
like my warm up.
You got to fit. Yeah, you got. This is your open.
Yeah, talk about sadness and alcoholism, and now I'm ready to go tell some jokes.
That's right.
Which brings us, unfortunately, to the 8th and final song of the night. Tell us some jokes. Is that what it's
just
called?
Some jokes. I'll actually do a little homage to my my old request thing. I'll give you guys some options and let you guys pick the last one.
Okay.
So I have a song that I wrote in 2016, right before the 2016 election, titled America, that is probably as prevalent today as it was then. I have a song that I wrote about my dad called My King's Wisdom that is more of like an imaginative explanation of like my dad's situation and without my mom and raising me by himself and then other things. Or we could do I don't think you guys want to hear the saddest song I've ever written, which is I wrote on my birthday, called It's My Birthday, which was the 14th, by the way. It was last Monday before last, I think. Thank you.
Hey, happy birthday.
38.
Heyo.
Which of those sounds more interesting to you guys? The America song, the dad song, or the super sad birthday song?
Anybody in the chat also can respond. I just realized we had some people
Shout out to the chat, by the way.
Shout out to the chat. Thank you guys. This is incredible. You guys are the shit. Thank you for participating.
I have a not a huge, but I have an incredibly loyal YouTube fan base that I stream video games with and shit.
Hell yeah.
Shocker. I also suffer from agoraphobia, which I don't know if you guys know what that is. Like that explains a lot of why I don't really put myself out there a lot.
Is like afraid of everything, right?
Yeah, I'm just terrified that if I leave my comfort zones or places that I've marked as my comfort zones, that something is inevitably and surely going to go wrong.
That's, has it happened? Or is it just a feeling that you have? Or is it because of something that's actually happened?
I don't know. It's something I've had all of my life, and I just didn't realize it until I got officially diagnosed. One of my buddies back home is a therapist, and he just read some of my posts after I moved to Austin, and he sent me a message and was like, hey, buddy, you have agoraphobia coupled with panic, and it rarely gets better. So unless you want to live that life, you're going to have to start getting out there more. So I've been trying to do that. This is honestly part of that.
So we have, to go back to the chat, we've got 1 vote for America. No, 2 votes for America. 1 for the Sad B-Day song. Anybody else in the chat? Dealer's Choice was the other one.
Dealer's Choice.
Why don't we go Dealer's Choice? I'm going to let you surprise us with the last bit of the song, and then we're going to, we'll close out after that. Real quick, before we do, actually, where can people find your music? Tell us all of the things. Where can people find it?
My music is available everywhere music is available. Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, at Kelsey Hudgins, Hudgins. And for the most part, I've recorded all of the instruments myself. I produced it all myself in my apartment back home for the most part. Yeah, it's pretty much everywhere.
Hell yeah, dude. I love it. I absolutely love it. Before we're out of here, Greg, where can people find you? You have a show tonight at Sunset?
Yeah, I have a show tonight at Sunset. I'm usually there like once or twice a weekend.
Hell
Then
yeah.
you can follow me on Instagram at Greg_DePaul, and then I post all my shows.
Awesome.
On that,
Please send me your stuff, and I'll put it in the description of the YouTube chat as well. Because I believe I put your YouTube or your music stuff in the description.
Yeah.
I think. If I didn't, I'll put it in there. I will zip it over to you for the last song of the evening, which is called...
Let's do My King's Wisdom for my dad.
Hell yeah. My King's Wisdom. Over to you, brother.
I think everybody thinks of their dad as a king of sorts if they have a good dad, and I have the best. So, yeah, that's enough. Everyone would listen when the king spoke. Like candlelight, I'd glow around his words. And the stories that he told by now 1,000 times still sent my mind all fluttering like a bird. The foot of his throne to me was a classroom. If I didn't learn it, damn sure ain't his fault. But I'm hearing those same words now falling out my mouth. I'm spreading my king's wisdom like a good prince ought. Well, the fattened calf's still living, but my kingdom all should know. When the trumpet sounds from glory, I'll be on the side with hope. When I finally meet my maker after all that we've been through, I'm gonna thank him both for Jesus and a king like you. Thank him both for Jesus and a king like you. Well, our kingdom took a heavy blow right after I was born. For within our walls the evil queen conspired. She fancied how she'd fare outside our castle, and the yearn to her good people she'd acquired. And the weight upon her head it proved too heavy, and she didn't leave much honor on that crown. But before too long, the good king found another. And to this day, she wears our last name proud. Well, the fattened calf's still living, but With my kingdom all should know, when the trumpet sounds from glory, I'll be on the side with hope. When I finally meet my Maker after all that we've been through, I'm gonna thank him both for Jesus and a king like you. Thank him both for Jesus and a king like you. So I guess in my mind we're a royal family. And I also guess some fairy tales come true. And I've struggled far too long with what I've been lacking. Almost forgot I still am part of you. And they say a prince reflects upon his kingdom. And I've lived through times I've hated that was true. But I've done my best to be someone that I'm proud of. But a prince should also make his king proud too. Well, the fattened calf's still living, but my kingdom all should know, when the trumpet sounds from glory, I'll be on the side with hope. When I finally meet my Maker after all that we've been through, I'm gonna thank him both for Jesus and a king like you. Thank him both for Jesus and a king like you. Thank him both for Jesus and a king like you. Thank him both for Jesus and a king like you. That's my king's wisdom from my dad.
Hell yeah.
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 Oh, yeah.
Dude, thank you so much. What an
Thank
absolutely
you.
another beautiful song. Thank you for sharing your music, your poetry. The way you write is incredible, man.
Thank
I can't
you
wait
guys
to
so
see you
much.
pursue more of your music because I think
Thank
it's needed in the world. You're a beautiful artist. Thank you for doing this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to the lovely audience for giving us your Saturday night. Thank you guys so much for watching, either online or after the fact. Be sure to check us out for another episode of Local Sets ATX. We will see you on the internet. Good night, everybody. And thank you to the people in the chat. That was awesome. Good night, guys.
Oh, yeah.